Welcome to another episode of GooberPasta. You like babysitting? I don't care, but you should listen to this spooky tale. Once again, I pulled up to the house at 914 Evergreen Way. I was about to earn $80 for babysitting for 6 hours. It was my only consistent gig. I had been out of graduate school for years, and I could not get a job as a popcorn enthusiast major. Yeah, I studied popcorn enthusiasm. Not popcorn as in the food itself, but people who were enthusiastic about it. That's what I studied, and I had a PhD in it. And I am in massive debt, I tell you, so I take any type of money I can get. $80 for 6 hours to sit with a couple punk-ass kids is okay by me. And believe you me, they were some punk asses. I had Braxton and Braxton Jr. Yeah, both kids, brothers, named Braxton. I don't ask questions. I just come over, sit there, collect the checks. The Bransons were able to let me have 2 popsicles out of the freezer and a cup of coffee if I got a little too tired. I always took 2 cups of coffee. But we'll just leave that secret between me and you. Braxton was 11 years old, and he wanted to be a rapper. He didn't bother me too much except to come downstairs and talk mad smack to me, which he did almost on a consistent basis because he said he had to develop his dissing skills. Which I guess he said that dissing a near 40-year-old man with a degree from a university in popcorn enthusiasm was pretty easy stuff. Braxton Jr., well, he was a little bit of a goober. All he ever did was try to tell me a bunch of goober stories and just stuff I didn't really care about. You know how 5-year-olds are. Well, this wasn't going to be an ordinary night, I would soon find out. I knocked on the door as usual. Of course, Braxton answered. Yo, what up, G? You been listening to that Jaquan? No, I don't listen to Jaquan. Didn't that dude have some kind of hit single about 25, 40 years ago? I don't know, bro. I just figured old men like you'd listen to Jaquan and like it. I came inside as usual. The parents were already gone. They had to get an early start on drinking. They didn't bother to tell me though, so the kids had been there for a half hour by themselves. I sent a text to them letting them know I was there. They responded back with K, and remember, 2 popsicles and 1 cup of coffee. Braxton Jr. was upstairs. I could hear him dancing around up there. He liked to listen to pandemic flute music and dance around like a little wiener. Me and Braxton Jr. used to make fun of him a lot till he started crying to his mom and threatened to call Child Protective Services on him. They told me to stop making fun of him, even though they did it too. I wasn't going to go up there and make fun of him. I knew his brother was going to do plenty of that for me. I sat down on a couch and turned on the TV to some good old Fox News, because I sure do love me some good old truthful news on Fox News. Sometimes I flip over to CNN to see what truthful news that they were telling as well, because no medias lie. They always tell the truth and never exaggerate on their headlines. Braxton Jr. came up. Yo, dog, are we going to get some pizzas or what? My mom left 50 big ones for us to get some pizza. Yes, we are going to get some pizza. I hadn't eaten in a couple days. I was already digging into my first popsicle because all my money goes to paying off my student loans. You see, I didn't get a traditional student loan. I got one through the mob, and when you don't pay the mob, they like to threaten to break limbs and stuff. And I needed my limbs because, well, I had to walk around to places and, I need my arms to reach stuff, so I need them not broke. So I always paid the mob on time, and unfortunately that meant a lot of sacrifices. I sleep in my car, I shower at Planet Fitness. I'm not even a member. I just run in and set off the lunk alarm so there's a big distraction, and I run into the shower and take a shower. I hit up everyone in the Chicagoland area, no problem whatsoever. This night started off the usual night.
I was sitting on the couch. Braxton Jr. is upstairs dancing. Braylon went off into his quote-unquote studio, which is basically the garage where he held the phone up to his face and practiced his rhymes. I could hear one of his good rhymes now. Yo, 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 my name is Braxton, and if you don't like my raps, my mom's gonna sue your ass because she's an attorney. It wasn't very good. But hey, these kids were just a bunch of spoiled brats and I didn't give a shit, as long as I got $80 and 2 popsicles. I went to the fridge to get my second popsicle. I opened it up when the landline phone rang. I always thought it odd that these people who are highly successful suburbanites wanted to have a landline phone still. I didn't question it. I figured it might be them drunk, telling me that they were going to have to stay out extra late or something. When they stayed out late, they let me have 3 popsicles. So I thought this was going to be a feast tonight. I answered the phone. Hello? Silence on the other end. Now who would call somebody and not say anything? I could hear somebody on the other end. I don't know what they wanted, because they weren't talking. I said, hey man, if you're going to call, you need to talk. Because you took all this time to call a landline in 2020 when landlines are pretty much obsolete because everybody's got cell phones. Now, start talking, mister. At 7:45 p.m. you will die. The mysterious voice said, I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please? Yes, I can. At 7:45 tonight, you will die. Me? Well, what did I do? You know what you did. But what about the kids, Braxton and Braxton Jr.? They will die as well. Silence on the other end. Hello, are you still there? I would like to discuss this as it does not seem favorable to me. I heard a click. The line disconnected. Oh well, I decided to disregard it. Braxton came out of the garage. Yo, 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 who be calling on the phone, G? Oh, I don't know. Just somebody who said that we're all gonna die. I decided to hang up and ignore it. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Don't worry, yo. I know you're like a big wiener man and such, so I got a gun upstairs because, all us rappers have guns. Yes, that's very fine, Braxton. Braxton Jr. came running downstairs. Hey, man, it's me, Braxton Jr. Would you like to see my dancing? No, Braxton Jr., I would not. Now, how about you and your brother do something productive and make your parents happy, like homework? Or maybe clean something here, like your rooms. No way, man. My room is empty because my parents don't let me do anything but dance because they like to make fun of me for dancing. Well, that's pretty terrible. I'll be honest with you, dude. I really don't care, just as long as I get my $80 and my popsicles. If you let me dance for you, I will let you eat another popsicle and say I ate it. It's a deal, bro. Braxton Jr. began dancing. The other Braxton started rapping over it. He was mumbling a bunch of words because he says his aspirations to be a mumble rapper, so he doesn't really need to make sense. Is what he was saying. He sounded a lot like a bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, but I didn't care. I was making my way to the refrigerator to get the 3rd popsicle when all of a sudden a trash can came flying through the window. Glass went flowing everywhere. Hey, yo, man, what's going on here? Braxton said. Oh, no. They're coming to kill us, Braxton Jr. said. I said, now, Braxton Jr., how did you know that somebody was coming to kill us? They've been calling every day this week, and I've been calling them little bitches. So now they're really mad. Great, I thought. Well, there's going to be a bunch of spooky guys coming in here to kill us, so I guess we're going to have to get ready to fight. All right, Braxton, go upstairs and get your gun. No problem, G. 11-year-old Braxton Jr., not more than 5'4", came up to me and said, I'm going to punch them in the kidney. I said, that's a good strategy, Braxton Jr. Braxton came downstairs with his piece. To my surprise, it was actually a legitimate gun. It was a .45 caliber. How much ammunition do you have, Braxton?
Hey, yo, man, don't worry about that. Let's just get ready to ice these fools.
We all stood by the window, looking to see who was going to come rush in to try to kill us. To our surprise, there was nobody there. Well, geez, I guess they lost interest when they found out that you had a gun.
Yeah, they don't want none of this. I got some pretty good street credentials. You know what I mean, G?
Not really, but I don't care about that. I was going to sit down and continue watching Fox News, completely ignoring the broken window, when all of a sudden, somebody threw a full trash can through the back window. It was from the alley, I could tell, because it was filled with all sorts of various garbages. And I was like, great, now I'm going to have to clean this crap up. All right, you, I called towards the empty window. Come on in here. You know, we know you called us and we're going to threaten to kill us, but we don't really care anymore, you know, because we're like some straight up hard thugs.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yo.
Braxton really proved of me calling us a bunch of hard thugs.
I'm going to punch you in the kidney,
screamed Braxton Jr. And he started doing some weird Peruvian pandemic flute dance. It was pretty weird. I don't care. All of a sudden, the back door flew open. And there was an ominous figure back there. It was actually a bunch of Target employees. Great, I thought. I knew exactly what this was. You see, the mob, which I borrowed my student loan money from, is actually ran by Target. So, whenever they have to collect on a debt, they send people from Target. There's about 6 or 7 Target employees, and the lead Target employee came up and was like, hey, we got a vendetta against this family, so we're gonna like kill all you fools now. I said, oh yeah? You think so, huh? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, Target employees, I guess you need to know my little secret. All of a sudden, my skin draped away. My legs disappeared and my arms disappeared. I turned into a spooky ghost. You see, I wasn't actually a babysitter. I've actually been a ghost for over 25 years now. I was killed in a popcorn accident, and the only way my soul could find rest and validation was to get back at the people who manufactured the popcorn that killed me, and that was Target. It took years and years and years, but I finally had them trapped. Ah! Some wienery Target employee screamed.
Braxton was like, hey, yo, man, this is some freaky stuff.
He grabbed Braxton Jr. and they ran out the front door. He jumped into his big ghetto hoopty ride. For an 11-year-old kid, he sure had a lot of rap stuff that was stereotypical of rappers. He climbed into his big ride with 20-inch rims and drove away down the street, never be seen or heard from again. But my attention needed to be turned to these Target employees. All right, you're gonna get it. And one by one, I passed through each of the Target employees, and I took their spleens. Oh no, my spleen! Another one screamed out. They all went running away in sheer terror as I held up a bunch of spleens. My work here is done. I then loaded up the spleens into a cooler, and I turned back into human form. And I went down to the children's hospital, because there was exactly 11 people at the children's hospital that needed a spleen replacement, and I had one for each and every one of them. I walked in my human form and set it on the counter. Oh, thank you, good sir. These spleens will help so many people. What is your name so we can tell them? My name? You ask? My name is John Bon Jovi. Thank you, bitches.